Hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me. I'll give it a second because you know me and balking audio. So if I'm clear, let me know. If I'm not, tell me. Clear? Cool. So there are some bigly things happening, particularly in my life at the moment. Number one is, and I'm really happy to say, as of this week, I have started and I've been accepted to go in and actually do a full-on master's thesis on any topic I want, and right now that is likely going to be the evolution of Belarusian national identity. So, big win. I've got the piece of paper already, but now I'm going to have a piece of paper specifically on Belarus and national identity in the Eastern Bloc, which is pretty fucking incredible. Obviously, that's going to be a lot of work. Even though I've done a lot of the preliminary research, it's nothing compared to the amount of research that I'm going to have to write. I've written big bits of academia before about convict colonial history in Australia, and I've written it about the Roman Empire, along with a few other things, you know, like what destroyed the Soviet Union and such. But this is finally something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and for those who don't know, it's actually very hard to get approved to do this kind of thing in Australia. Mostly down to the fact that, well, most of our universities don't really focus on this kind of stuff. They focus on local areas such as, you know, Southeast Asian history and such. So, you know, I'm actually going to get to write about what I want to. But no, sadly, I cannot go to Belarus and I can never go to Belarus. But thankfully, because of how history works, all of the documents I need pertaining to the birth of Belarusian statehood and culture, they're actually not entirely in Belarus. A lot of them are in Lithuania, Latvia, Ukraine as well, and Poland, because, you know, history. So that's fun. But yeah, no, that's going to be my next 2 years basically. But now I know I may have made a few of you panic with the title, but you may remember last year that we have what I have dubbed the Great Panic of 2025. Now, this is the screenshot that I took from my tweet that I made to Team YouTube, where they denied anything happened and they did absolutely nothing. Yay! But I went through and I no, I'm not pregnant. I'm never having more kids. 2 is plenty. And for the person who mentioned it, yes, I finally got my ass into gear and I got glasses. You may also hear trucks going past today just because of construction. Now, last year, this time last year, things were not doing too hot. Things were actually really, really bad. The channel was the worst it's ever been. I could get no explanation from YouTube. I fell off a cliff, basically. Everything was going well. I was getting... Basically, I need 500,000 views a month to be... There goes the garbage truck. To be comfortable and to live a very comfortable life with my family. If you can hear it, I am sorry. The bins are getting collected. Now, can you move, please? Thank you. Now, this fell off a cliff, and in the space of I think it was about 3 days, I went from chugging along fine at, I think it was 10 to 15,000 views to nothing. I was actually getting genuinely nothing. What is MX? But thank you. I actually really want a vasectomy, but the doctors won't let me get one because I'm not 30 yet. They won't give me one. I'm begging for it, but they keep saying, "No, you're too young." But thank you so much. But no, this happened. This happened last year in 2025, exactly around this time, and they couldn't explain it to me. And I had no explanation at all. I had absolutely no inclination of what had happened, and it took about a month of basically earning peanuts. Like, I went from earning, I think it was at the time equivalent of about 3.5 to 4,000 USD a month, which is, you know, a good wicket to be on when it comes to revenue from ad revenue. Obviously, there was a bit more from Patreon that covered the rest of the bills, but, you know, living in a city in Australia, that is less than you think it is. especially when you've got kids, all the way down to 1,000. Like I lost my whole income, three-quarters of it in a month, and I completely it was bad. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I was quite sick actually from it. And I ended up going into job interviews and going back to the finance sector because I still have my quals in finance from when I was an advisor. And yeah, it was absolutely doing my head in. And then one day, my lovely spouse had the idea. She said to me, "What did you change when this fell off the cliff?" So I had a look, and I uploaded 3 shorts. 3 shorts. 3,000. 3 shorts. So I deleted the shorts, and overnight, you can see what happened here. Overnight, sorry, this is before that. This here, overnight, I deleted the shorts, and I went from getting less than 500 views in 2 days, which is the worst. I usually hover at 20,000 views to 10 to 20,000 views a day. So getting 500 a day, and overnight I got 80,000 views from all the videos I'd uploaded for the last month. They all went into the algorithm. And what was happening was YouTube was grabbing the shorts, and it was doing this here in the bottom. It was only showing all my videos to subscribers. And normally you'd think that's great, but the thing is, of subscribers, even if you hit the bell, only about 3 to 5% of you will actually get the notification that we've uploaded. So, yeah. You just came through. Go away. Yeah, she does. We both work full time. This is full time now. But this month was bad. Like I went from getting, decent subs every day to no subs, and then I was only getting to 5% of my audience, and my audience at the time was 80,000. He's leaving any second now. That's my recycling. My recycling is stuck because he's wiggling it. And there he goes. All right. So only about 3,000 to 4,000 people are actually getting notified of my videos. And it really hit home when I went in for a job interview, and it was a decent one. It was a job I really didn't want to do, working for the tax office. But it was one I was qualified for. And yeah, it just dropped massively. And then overnight, we went straight back to this, and I was getting showed to non-subscribers again. My subscribers were actually seeing it again. And the script flipped, and it took 3.5 weeks. And the reason I'm bringing this all up is those 3.5 weeks was probably one of the scariest moments I've had, because, like I said, I got 2 kids, and I did a stream during those weeks, and during those, and I flat out said that this was going to probably end the channel. I was going to leave, and my patrons and a lot of you guys, Sydney Gamer in particular, and a few others that I like there, and I can't remember the rest of the names, I'm sorry. You all donated $2,000 over the course of the month collectively, which kept the lights on, which paid the bills, and it gave me time to breathe and think. And I'll be honest, brought some tears to my eyes as well, still does. And it kept me going just long enough so that I could figure out, with some help, what was going on. And then we deleted those shorts, and then we had what is called the tuning, where I've just called it the tuning, where we went from the worst month I've ever had on YouTube to the best. Thank you, Isaac. Yes, ew, the ATO. Although they've been really good with me. I get along with them well, because I used to work not with them, but concurrent to them in a similar field. And this month was mental. Like this was October last year, sorry. And the tuning completely flipped the script. We went from 85,000 subs up to over 100,000. I got my plaque. Any bills I was worried about was paid off this month. And largely it's because of the Soviet AA20, because that video went insane. It got like 500,000 views in 2 days. It was mental. And then this one came along just before it. This one released before it, the Mallard before it, and it did really, really well. And then this one came out, it did really, really well. And this one did not as well, but it still did well. And the tuning really saved the channel, but in terms of making me go, all right, let's go, let's continue. But I will flat out say it would not have continued without the support of all of you. You paid my bills that month through nothing more than the kindness of your own heart. And, maybe it's, karma. Maybe I did something good to someone at one point. But either way, it's, I can't say thank you enough. You guys are the only reason the channel still exists. And the only reason I've got that silver play button up there that's above my head that I can't reach because it's behind a Soviet, we're more than 5 minutes in, behind a Soviet dildo that someone sent me. Thanks, Matilda. I really needed that to look at me every single day while I work. Oh yeah, you can't see the cursor. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, no. It really did change a lot of things. And that sort of, yes, Maddie, a Soviet dildo, don't question it. But yeah, no. Since then, obviously I've made a few changes with the channel. Namely the 5-minute history series kicked off. And talking about averages on it, when it comes down to those videos, as long as they get like 10 to 20,000 views, they're worth it. And they all seem to, so thank you all for watching them. And the bigger videos obviously do better, generally speaking. That brings us to another point when it comes to ads and me taking on ads. Now, I'm quite picky with them, generally speaking. And I'm wanting to do some more of them, just not huge ones. And, Devil War Thunder, like 30 to 60-second integrations into longer videos. I'm talking I won't do it in videos under 30 minutes long. The 5-minute history videos, I just want to let you all know they will never, ever be sponsored by a third party because you guys already pay for it. As far as I'm concerned, patrons and members who put their ideas into that to get their videos made, you've already paid for it. You are the sponsor, which is why at a lot of them, I will shout the person out who's requested it, unless they ask me not to, in which case they won't. I'm not accepting Raid Shadow Legends money because let's just say it's owned by a certain country that I don't want to get paid from because it feels wrong. And some of the 5-minute videos are 5 minutes. The next one's about 2.5 hours, but well, not the next one. The next one I make, they're made in advance, is about 2.5 hours, but that's a whole other point, and it's a collaboration. But yeah, so I'll get more into the 5 minutes soon. But first, I want to talk about some things I've shelved. Thank you, Caleb. And yeah, no, thank you. No, not China. Not China. But there are a few projects I have shelved. One in particular that I want to talk about, and the reason why I've shelved it. And it really comes down to no, the Cap Young video is not one of them. The Cap Young video is actually done. I'm not mentioning the Cap Young video here because the Cap Young video is done. I'm just currently fighting with YouTube copyright to release 5 claims so I can actually get the freaking thing out. At this rate, it's not going to be out for a while. And they're all spurious claims. So basically, the Cap Young video is on pause because thank you, Perez Jacob. The Cap Young video is on pause because the Cap Young video, I'm using footage that I've gotten from the National Film and Sound Archive. And those National Film and Sound Archive, I've been given permission to use them as a citizen of the Commonwealth of Australia, right? But there are groups abroad looking at certain British companies and a lot of Indian companies who think they own it because they've used it once in a documentary and then sold the rights to that documentary to a third-party company. So I have to fight each of these claims individually, essentially, and be like, I'm a citizen of the Commonwealth of Australia and I have rights to use this footage. Go fuck yourself. And then they fight me back, and then I go, all right, well, prove that you own it so I can take it to a legal representative, and then they dip out, but they leave it to the whole 30 days. And I refuse to cut as much as they want me to cut from this. I'm just being stubborn. I'll be completely honest. I'm being completely stubborn. But you know what? Screw them. But the big one that is shelved is this one here. Now, it's the film review one. I mentioned it at the end of my Nuremberg video. I hate this movie. a lot, and I get called out a lot because I don't do Western propaganda. And there is no greater example of Western propaganda except for this movie, which is a complete lie. The book was written by a damn British author who writes fiction about the Navy SEALs. But I've wanted to do this video for a very long time because, one, I think it personally, the whole story, the whole rigmarole and the politics behind it and why it's all made up, I think it's a spit in the face of actual people who are heroes, such as, Gordon Shugart from Mogadishu. What they did is something that deserves all the credit in the world. People like Cameron Baird, VC, who died in Afghanistan. Like, if you want to look at actual heroic acts, they do exist, and they absolutely exist. And yeah, this, oh Jesus, this drives me insane. The Patriot is also a great example of, the Patriot's not even Western, it's pro-American, it's stupid. But this is such a lie that it's beyond insane. But due to the current situation on YouTube, the moment I even bring up anything, and I mean anything, that is slightly critical of the current US administration or the United States, my channel loses views very, very quickly. I mean very quickly. How many of you know I did a video on Dory Miller recently? Because, yeah, not a lot of people know that I did, because it didn't get shown to anyone. And we can see that. We can see what videos get shown to who. But yeah, no, so, yeah. Because of that, I won't be covering this for a while. The video is done, actually. It's not recorded, but the script is done and such. But yeah, I'm not going to bring it out for a while just yet. And it's purely just down to, I played the Great Panic of 2025. I'd rather not do it right now. But that's the big one that's been put on hiatus. And it will come out eventually. And I will say some incredibly spicy things about the war in Afghanistan and how stupid it was and how futile it was. And I say that as somebody who used to work a lot with the people who came back broken from it as their advocate when it comes to disability and benefits. And I have a special hatred of the war in Afghanistan due to that. But yeah, it's going to be a while until that comes out. Well, I mean, this is something I actually address in the script here from DP Unasked. Thank you, one of my members. A lot of people think I don't like the United States. I love the United States. I love what it is supposed to be. What it is supposed to represent is one of the most beautiful things on the planet that we should all strive towards. Equality, freedom, everyone having equal rights, and everyone being able to live in the way they want. That's what it's meant to represent. And that is something beautiful. It is incredible, and it is something that the whole world should strive to be. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's one of the greatest things we can strive towards. What it has become is heartbreaking and completely predictable. And that is what makes it so upsetting. But that's a whole other argument. What it should be and what it is, I think you can sum it up with listen to the song America the Beautiful, but slow it down by 20%. And that kind of sums up my feeling. Or the Enclave version from Fallout, that actually sums it up pretty well. But anyway, on a more happy note, we go to the future with this terrible render of what a futuristic city is meant to look like, but would actually be terrible because it's not walkable at all, and walkable cities are a good thing. Hello, Philip. Now, yeah, so big things in future. The first, flying cars are stupid, and I'll stand on this movie. Movie reviews are something I want to do in future. I'd love to do some more movie reviews in the future. Things like Stalingrad, the Soviet movie the Russian movie, sorry, is absolutely beyond hilariously terrible. It's arguably worse than Enemy at the Gates, which is somewhat impressive. Cities should be walkable. Walkable cities are a good thing. It means you can breathe air better and use public transports. Trains are a good thing. Like, imagine you're trying to go to the bloody theater in the center and you live at the tower that's far away. You'd have to drive all the way around it. It's terrible. Death of Stalin's another one. It's fantastic as well. So there are a few movies I want to cover. Hunt for Red October is an interesting one because it's actually far more accurate than people think it is. But anyway, first things first. You may know this man on my left. This is Chris, also known as Rex's Hanger, and this is the best photo I've ever had taken of myself because we just look like dopes. It's taken by his lovely wife. Now, he and I, last year we travelled up to Cairns for Ozama Fest, and we're going to be doing it again this year. But this year we actually have a plan. Crazy, right? Lone Survivor was one of the things that led me to a far out America. Thank you, Traveller. I had no idea I had that impact on you from getting out of the hole. Like, I'll be honest, Lone Survivor and a few other things like that was one of the things that threw me down the far right path when I was younger too. So getting out of it myself was not easy. So I'm glad I was able to help someone else get out of it. Growing up in a rural area, it's really hard to get out of that kind of mindset. But anyway, so Rex and I, we're going up to Cairns again for Ozama Fest in August. I can't wait. I am sick and tired of being cold, and I'm looking forward to being warm. Now, I've run some mock-ups of videos I'm intending to make while I'm up there with all the tanks, because the museum is going to basically let us do whatever we want with the tanks, and it's pretty amazing. Now, first things first, the Tiger video, a defense of the Tiger, that is a video that script is already actually written and recorded, and I'm just going to get a lot of footage of their Tiger, and I'm hoping they let me in it. They said they would. I might need a mask, but I'm hoping they let me in it. Another tank I wanted to do a video on while I was up there is the Lee, or the Grant. And talking about how it's really the unsung hero, and really it was the king of North Africa. And it did such a great job in North Africa. Beatrice is coming, yes. Now, I'm defending the Tiger because it gets undue hate, but that's a whole other point. Sean, how many Australian cities are walkable? More than you think, actually. So, Canberra, where I live, is extremely walkable, depending on where you are. Like, if you want to go in the outer suburbs to the inner suburbs, it's obviously not. But it's only a 30-minute light rail journey or a bus. Sydney itself, the CBD, very walkable. And the bits that aren't walkable, you have a metro, a light rail, and train system that takes you anywhere. Same as Brisbane, same as Melbourne. So Australian cities are quite walkable. Canberra has 600,000 people in it. It's not a town. It's quite large. Now, Adelaide's quite walkable too. Newcastle also has public transport as well now. That's quite good. Canberra is very walkable. It's one of the big reasons I love the place. If you're in the CBD in Canberra, if you're in the dead centre of the city and you want to walk to Parliament House, it's a 25-minute walk. It's not bad at all. It's quite nice, actually. It's a very nice walk around the lake. And what you can't walk, you can get very simple public transport for. But yeah, so these are two of the oh god, more Soviet submarines. So these are two of the videos that I'm thinking of making while I go up there. Obviously the Tiger and the Lee/Grant. Now, other tanks that they have, I'm more than happy to take suggestions and such. One of the big things that I'm thinking of doing is, because last year you all seemed to really enjoy an entire month dedicated to tanks. In December, I called it Tankmas. And if you are interested in having another Tankmas this year, it's something I'm more than willing to entertain. So yeah, let me know what tanks you would want covered. For patrons and members, by all means, please throw in a suggestion for, the ones you want covered. I did the 38T, the Stuart. There will be a video on the Sentinel. I am extremely excited to make that. I've had someone 3D model me a Sentinel for it, so I'm extremely excited for it. So let me know what you think about the idea of Tankmas 2. Now, the RAM actually sent me partially deaf last year. It's a whole thing. But one of the big ongoing things I'm working on, as you all know, is my sort of semi-irregular series on the Fall of the Soviet Union. Now, this is I've noticed that people really enjoy this. I mean, the Chernobyl video got a lot of views, and the Afghanistan video got even more. So, I'm not shocked to hear most of you are enjoying this, given that it is one of the more popular videos. Now there are really three more aspects I want to cover with it. The big one is stagnation, because I talk about stagnation a lot, but I don't actually talk about quite often what it is and how it really came about. Nor do I really talked about the revolutions of Russia in the what's it called? 1990s. There is no update on the restoration of the Kharkov, sadly. Nationalism is one of the big factors that destroyed the USSR. However, I've chosen to label it under freedom because nationalism quite often gets such a bad rap because it's quite often linked to ultranationalism, which is completely different to the nationalism that was on display during this period. There were ultranationalists, of course, but this is very, very different. So these are three things that you have to look forward to in future. They're not scheduled. Only one of them is written. But yeah, no, the odds are they're actually going to come out in the order of stagnation, revolution, freedom. But I'm yet to decide what exact order they go in and whether or not there might be another bit to it. Now, one of the big things I've always been asked about is my History of Ukraine series, because I sort of stopped at the Holodomor, and I'll be honest, it was for mental health reasons, because I was just getting depressed as hell. You're going to notice all of those videos disappear from the channel in the coming months, and there's a reason why. Don't freak out for it. It's because I'm going to redo the whole series as one big video. I'm going to do the 5 parts that are there are all going to be re-recorded with my new mic setup, the ability that I have now for a better cadence and such, and they're all going to be put on into a large video, very similar to the Belarus video, because the feedback I got after the Belarus video showed me that people really enjoyed having everything there and having chapters that they could come back and get. This is a Shure 7 mic. Rex actually gave it to me. It was really nice of him. It's his old mic. So instead of having a 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 20 minutes there, you're most likely going to get a 2.5 hour video on the history of Belarus. The history of Ukraine, similar to the history of Belarus video that I did. And it's a big project that I'm working on over the next year or so. It's nothing small. It's going to be a significant amount of work, and there's going to be a lot that I'm going to go back and change in the way that I present it, because when I was explaining the religion in Ukraine, I was very clunky, and I've realized how clunky I was. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change it, and we're going to talk more about Cossacks most likely. And it's going to be really, really in-depth. I'm aiming for a 2028 release on that, because I know it's going to be more than a year's worth of work. And the word count at the end of this is probably going to be about 50 to 60,000 words, which is actually big enough to publish into a 250-page book, which you might get. I've had a few requests to turn it into a book, and I'm considering publishing the 70,000 words that will be the Ukraine series plus the Belarus series, rewritten obviously into more academic prose and with sources and referencing, which is going to take me forever because I didn't reference it properly. I just saved my sources. I didn't actually Chicago them in APA. But yeah, so that's a very long-term plan. Trying to explain the entire anthology of Ukraine and the history of Ukraine, plus Belarus at the end. I will tag on the Belarus at the end as sort of an addendum at the end. It'll be another 50 or so pages. So yeah, so if you, that's, like I said, that's a really long-term project, and it's been something I've been toying with for a while. There's also 2 other books that I really want to write. One I've technically sort of mapped out and started, and I find it really, really funny. I've called it, the working title is History to Fight That Uncle at the Christmas Dinner Table With. And it's basically just a collection of random things. I did capture the references while I wrote. I just didn't format them correctly. Belarus for that. And basically, so yeah, the history of things that you can fight your uncle over. It's a collection of things to actually fight people with. Like, I was thinking maybe 10 or so chapters, each about 5,000 to 7,000 words. Something you could sit down and read a chapter of in about 40 minutes. and then get up and do something else. Because, we all have lives. We don't have time to sit and read nonstop. I mean, I don't even do it. Do you want to know how a historian actually reads? We grab our book. This case is The History of the Sentinel by Jason Belgrave. Amazing book. And we don't open the front page. We go to the back and we go to the index. That's how historians research. We never open the front page of a book unless we're reading it for fun, which I am at the moment for a certain book, and I'll explain why. But yeah, so the Ukraine, the history of that is going to include things like the Nazis weren't socialist, you're just wrong. The moon landing was real, you idiot. What was another one that I wrote in there? Oh yeah. The USS Liberty is not a conspiracy just because Fox says it is. And there was a couple of others that that I thought would be fun topics to cover. The Tiger Tank was not God. Get off the History Channel was another one. But yeah, so like that's sort of a tongue-in-cheek sort of book that I want to write in the same kind of memey sense that I used to present my my first few videos. But yeah, so that's one of them. And then the third one is obviously World's Worst Navy, because I've got about 300 pages worth of me just shitting on the Russian Navy for being stupid. And honestly, it would, at this point, it's better if I just put it into a book format, because Jesus Christ, it's huge. But yeah, that's long term. I want to publish books, and I'll have the pieces of paper to do it now. So I can Mark Felton myself and make my own books. No, Fox News is not a real channel. They're actually registered as an entertainment company, because they can't be registered as a new channel because they make more shit up. Yeah, you may get another Aeroflot video soon. I'm currently having a shit fight over copyright with one, though. I might have to re-upload it soon. But yeah, so they're the three that I'm planning. But in the meantime, people really seem to like these semi-series where I talk about the history of a country, from start to finish. Now, on that, yeah, I could make a movie out of the series. I mean, I kind of do. I release supercuts of it. But on that, I was suggested to make shorter videos, TLDRs, if you will, on countries that no longer exist. And this is something that nothing is released yet, but I've done some sort of workups of thumbnails and script plans, like, dot points and such, on countries that I'd be interested in covering. So sort of the TLDR of countries, such as the Socialist Republic of Romania, Yugoslavia, Rhodesia, East Germany, explaining in 30 minutes or less what the country was, its brief history, how it collapsed, and why really it's no longer here. And this isn't limited to the Cold War, of course. This is just, modern examples that I've mocked up here. For example, there was a whole microstate in Western Germany in the Rhineland just after World War One, between the occupation zones, because Metric and Imperial is really funny. It's in the shape of an hourglass and involves a lot of Germans showing their butts to French people to piss them off. But like things like that would, I think it would be interesting. There's a few people that have asked about it. I was going to do a really, really long video on Rhodesia. That is something that largely has been shelved, because it's fucking... I don't want to be more depressed than I already am. Jesus, I read about a lot of depressing things, but yeah. Rhodesia is fascinating, though, because a lot of people lump it in with South Africa. And it's not. It's not. It's actually very, very different to South Africa. Wildly, it's way more liberal than apartheid South Africa, which just... I mean, the bar is in hell, but fuck me, it's weird to say that. Like... The thing with Rhodesia is everyone only ever talks about the Bush War, and it's really just because of the aesthetic. People just like the aesthetic. Which I get, the booty shorts look cool, and the brushstroke camo is great. But the country itself, I find quite interesting. And the fact that a lot of people don't realize this, that Rhodesia itself, and Zimbabwe and Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, because they're three different countries, all named very similar. it never really stopped being a segregated state. And no, I don't mean white genocide. I don't mean that at all. Although racism against white Rhodesians is a genuine thing. I've got Zimbabwean friends who I can tell you all about it. Zimbabwean friends who were born after Rhodesia fell, and they still get treated badly because of it. Now, I'm talking about intertribal issues such as the Ndebele and the Kalanga and the Shona. There is significant tensions, and there is a sort of rigmarole of supremacy in certain areas. For example, in Bulawayo, there is a lot of racial tension right now due to these tribal histories. And this goes back way, way before the white man ever showed up in the area. So it's a complex history that I think I could do quite well in explaining. Trying to fit it into 30 minutes will be difficult. But it's something that for example, after Mugabe took power, one of the first things he did was start to disappear his adversaries who were Ndebele, not Shona, and there's a certain aura of Shona supremacism. So that's a whole other thing. It's basically modern Zimbabwe in many ways after the fall of Rhodesia can be described as Yugoslavia, but no one cared about it because it was in Africa. And it's something I would like to talk about more. I honestly just want to talk about Africa more because African history is fascinating and no one ever talks about it. But yeah, so that's the kind of future. Oh gosh. Adrian Arcand. Spartan761 did a video on that. He's great. As for the 5-minute histories, though, that's been a big thing. Yeah, actually, Rhodesia was the first country since the United States to declare independence against the US. It's quite interesting. I have considered taking on researchers, writers, and editors, but at this point, I'm too much of a control freak to let go of anything, which is a me problem that I need to address. But continuing on, the 5-minute history series has been something that has been received both well and negatively. At the end of the year, once we hit 52 episodes, I'm going to release an entire year's worth of it as one big mega episode, just because. And next year, yes, I included the Sophie dildo on it. Next year, I'm going to actually go through and make some changes. This is just a mock-up. This isn't a video that's been requested, although, I mean, I can do it if people want it. The tallest mountain in Australia is named Mount Kosciuszko. And I know it's pronounced wrong for the Polish, but we call it Mount Kosciuszko because it's the tallest mountain in Australia. That's why I called him Tadeusz Kosciuszko. But yeah, so there are things I want to change. Like, this is just a mock-up. Like, I want to try and move away from the bread. I want to try and make it a bit more me. Because I feel like I'm getting sort of lumped into AI with these videos, which is a shame because I actually really enjoy making them. So yeah, this is oh god, AI pronouncing it's bad. But no, like, you can sort of see where I want to go with it. I want to try and make it less red and more sort of differentiating it into sort of seasons, I guess. As we currently stand, the views on it are quite good. People are responding quite well, and people are enjoying it. So yeah, if the 5-minute history series is still getting between 10 and 20,000 views a video, which is what it needs to basically pay for the time I invest in each episode, then it will continue. If that drops down significantly, then, well, it'll drop down significantly, and I will sort of reevaluate where I'm going with it. But that's something that I'll leave up to you, and you can vote with your view, basically, on whether or not it keeps going. And then we get to the next project. Now, I'm calling this the Bigly Project because there are 2 Bigly projects. Extremely Bigly projects. Now, the first one is it's significant. It's going to be about an hour and 10 minutes long, and I'm using it as a palate cleanser for Eastern Europe, and also as sorry, I'm playing with a string because I'm fiddling, and this to everyone who says that I only ever cover Eastern European things, and I never cover, the bad shit that Western powers do. This is the working thumbnail for it, and I kind of like it a lot. this here. I'll wait for the chat to update so I can see some reactions to it. It's Bigly. It's become a significant project. For those who don't know, that is Welsh for just We Are Still Here. And it's taken from the chorus of a song, a folk song that was written in the 70s about the Welsh language, called Yama o Hyd, which is, the chorus translates to despite everything and despite all, we are still here. And Wales is something that absolutely fascinates me because it's an example of what Belarus could have been. When I'm talking at the end of Belarus, the Belarus video, and I talk about, I talk a lot about how cultures and countries will always exist and people will always exist so long as one child speaks the language. Wales is a great example of that. 60 years ago, the Welsh language was dying. It would have been dead within a generation, and now more people speak it than they have in centuries. It's taught in schools, young children can speak it, entire households speak it, and it's purely through the effort of the Welsh to save and preserve their culture. And this is the big and, because England didn't try and absolutely destroy them when they pushed back. They fought back, yes, and there is a lot of, back and forward there, but the fact that London didn't do a Moscow means that the Welsh were able to go, all right, we want to exist. And a similar thing occurred with the Manx language on the Isle of Man, except it did die out and now it's back. So Wales is one of those things that they've been through a lot, obviously, and England did some pretty dodgy shit. But modern England and modern London made choices that modern Moscow seems incapable of doing. And because of that, we still have a Welsh language. We still have a strong Welsh culture. And it's such a positive example of what nationalism and national identity can and should be. Manx is a case of linguistic necromancy, yes. And yeah, no, I adore the Welsh language. I don't understand it too well and it hurts my head. But it's something I'm really, really excited to make. And yeah, the current king of the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, blah, 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 the British king, Charles III, can speak Welsh. Albeit not the best, but he can speak it. So, yeah. I'm going to read. Thank you, Pragmatic. That made me laugh. Thank you. No, I haven't done a video on the Troubles as well. And that's another video I considered. So when I was looking at this, I tossed up doing between Wales, Scotland with Scots, and Ireland, sorry. And I chose Wales purely because not many people talk about it, and I think it's amazing. And also, every single time I hear its damn national anthem, I tear up at a rugby game because God, it is beautiful. Oh, thank you for the 20. Have you considered making a top 10 waifus? I mean, I'm not going to call it a waifu list, but top 20 or top 10 queens of history would be pretty amazing. You could put Zenobia in there. I won't put Cleopatra because it's done to death, but no, that would be a really cool video, actually. I don't really watch Count Dankula. I had a spat with Count Dankula on Twitter a while ago about him saying that you should never let a woman see you cry because they'll use it against you. And I'm like, dude, just shut up. If you don't have a wife who will treat you well and allow you to show emotion, then I think you may be in a toxic relationship. But anyway, but yeah, so I do want to do some more Welsh history too. Corsica was another one I considered, but again, I picked this because it was the easiest. Honestly, I picked this because it's the easiest one for me to research of all the Western ones, and also the one that interested me the most. And honestly, I needed a brain break from Eastern Europe, and this was the big one. And that brings us to this is going to have a 2027 release, by the way. It's probably going to be an hour and 10 minutes or so. It's mostly written. I do want to do some revisions, and I'm going to try and get some help with pronunciation of Welsh, because Welsh absolutely hurts my brain, and I'm going to butcher it, but I have a feeling the Welsh won't mind because I'm going to be talking about Wales, and I find it amazing. Now, Belgian colonial atrocities. Look, I'm not going to say no, but I don't want to be depressed all the time. I want to cover fun history too. Which, funnily enough, brings us to next June's video. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't going to cover... When I got the request to cover Soviet LGBTQ history, I wasn't going to do it. I just wasn't, because I didn't feel like I was the right person to do it. I didn't feel like I knew enough. I didn't feel like I had the perspective enough, and I just felt completely out of my depth, like totally out of my depth with it. It took me a long time to research. It took me a long time to understand. It took me a long time to try and put my head in the perspective of it. And I got a lot of help doing it. And I had a few people like Laserpig, for example, read through my script twice, and he watched the video before you all did. So you can thank him a lot for what he did in helping me get that video. I also had one of my wife's best friends. She's a psych major. She went through and made sure everything I was saying about the human psyche was correct. And honestly, it helped a lot. There was a lot of people who helped with that video, and I can't thank them enough. But it brought up another point, that I was only covering it from one side. Now, the history of these groups of marginalized peoples, it's covered very heavily from the Western perspective. It's covered very, very heavily in that perspective. It's not as much as it probably should be, but a lot. It's quite easy to go and research that. The sources are there. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is that there was another Holocaust, and when we talk about the Holocaust, we always just think Jews, and we think the Jewish people, and a lot of that is due to Israeli propaganda, but I'm not going to go into that. We don't think of the fact that there were other groups of people who were thrown into the prisons with them and gassed just alongside them. And that brings us to the thumbnail for that video in June. And yes, it's the pink triangles. This is not going to be a fancy thumbnail. I've gone with a minimalist sort of look for it. And it's going to be something that I research with the help of a few Germans over the next year. Because I can read a fair bit of German, but I'm not the best at it. Mein Deutsch ist nicht sehr good, basically. Now, when doing this video and going into these topics and talking about the Holocaust and talking about how it affects other people, this is not to denigrate what happened to the Jewish people. It was one of the most disgusting things in human history. And I think it's really sad that anyone who talks about the Holocaust from a different perspective, from the different groups of people who deal with it and who lived through it, I think it really takes away from our understanding of what is happening and what is going on and how this occurs and how genocide occurs when we only look at one group of people from it. Because it fundamentally breaks our understanding of what the Nazi state was at its core. And that's something I want to talk about a fair bit in this video, is that the Nazi state is not just a fascist state. And this is something that a lot of people don't really talk about a lot, is I want to draw the line between fascism and Nazism, not to defend either, but because they are different. Nazism in itself is its own thing. It's not fascism in the sense like Italy or like France or, pick another fascist country. It's very much its own thing, and it's got its own building blocks and its own core. Elizabeth of Austria. Elizabeth of Austria would be a great video. I'm going to save that. Thank you. 200. Geez, thank you, Adam. Bloody hell. Thank you. The Afghan video, the one about Lone Survivor. I can make it. After that, I'll make it. Jesus. Thank you, though. Jesus. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Completely lost my train of thought. Wow. 1 second. I totally lost my train of thought. Wow. Okay. Thank you again, Adam. yeah. But the Nazis, that's it. So talking about the Holocaust. Talking about the Holocaust. There are a lot of different groups during the Holocaust that I want to talk about. And unfortunately, like I said, because of media, we only really think about the 6 million, the Jewish people who died. And look, fair enough that we talk about that, because if it could happen to one group of people, it could happen to any group of people. But in doing that, quite often we forget that homosexual men were treated just as badly. In some cases, worse. In some cases, I'm not trying to make this a competition. And not only that, we then talk about Action T4. And I spoke about this in my video, How Educated Nations Commit Genocide, a video that YouTube completely buried, but when I stole the Zoom Historian out, I put it on that channel anyway, so they're still pissy about that. Action T4 is one that is so gut-wrenching. And like I've watched videos of the bodies, I've watched some horrific dissections of these bodies, I've watched all of this shit that the Nazis made. But the thing that sticks with me the most is, and I saw this when my youngest was 2. Sorry, my youngest was about 6 months old. There was a baby, he was about 6 months old, sitting on a nurse's lap. And you look at it and you think, oh yeah, that's cute. And then the caption is the name of the child, whose name has escaped me, sitting on the nurse who later euthanized him's lap. And it just absolutely snapped me, and I needed to walk away for about 10 minutes. In my mind, I firmly believe Action T4 is one of the most disgusting crimes against humanity in history. Because when an adult dies, we can understand it. Adults die every day. But babies can't be evil. They can't do anything. They can't have done anything bad to you. A baby is just a baby. Like, kids can be assholes, yeah, but a baby is just a fucking baby. And because of that, I think T4 is probably the worst thing the Nazi state ever did. And the fact it was the precursor absolutely breaks my mind. And it's something I will go into more, and I'll probably talk about. I'll probably do a video on T4 one day. Maybe when the channel is bigger and I can absorb the fact YouTube will bury me for about a month after I make. Because every time I do a video about genocide, YouTube will actually bury the channel for a month. So what you'll notice is I'll do all these big videos. A lot of Russian Navy videos will come out because they make a fair bit of money. And then I'll do the genocide video, and I'll just accept not existing. Like, whatever. Thanks, YouTube, I guess. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. And thank you, Max. The first books burned were trans research books. Yes, no, that's absolutely correct. Also, shout out to the Kiwis for drawing with Iran yesterday on a happier note. So yeah, so next year, there are going to be more videos talking about this kind of stuff. And the year after as well. I want to try and do a video on genocides throughout history at least once a year. Because, yeah, they hurt the channel. Yeah, they hurt my bottom line. Yeah, it'd be better off if I didn't do them. But I want to do these videos at least once a year, because quite often when people think of genocide, they think of just the Holocaust. And yeah, you know, fair enough, one of the worst in history. But how often do you think about Cambodia, Rwanda? Rwanda just... if you've ever heard the radio recording that started the Rwandan genocide, you'll never forget it. It's just cut the tall trees, cut them right now. And you just, when you know what it means, it just fucks with your head. But T4, there's more too. There's so many that occur that we don't even think about. Armenia. Yeah, there's just a lot. I mean, hell, what happened to the Germans in East Germany is a genocide. It is a genocide. There's no two ways about it. You can argue it's provoked genocide, but it was still a genocide nonetheless. Yugoslavia as well. So yeah, like, genocide is one of those things that it always will happen, and the more educated a population is, the more likely it is actually to do it. less educated populations don't do them as much as educated ones, and that's something that really scares people. Like I want to do a video about the Indian partition and talking about blame for it, because everyone blames the British when you can blame the British as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it wasn't just them. They may have mismanaged it, but it wasn't just them that did it. But anyway, that's a depressing note for the future that we will talk about when the time comes. Now, on to a happier note. I have 2 other channels, for those who don't know. Lesser of Two Weevils, which I co-host with Rex, and The Ancient Connection, which is just ancient history. I am coming back to them both. I haven't forgotten about them both. They still get videos, even though it's been 2 months since The Ancient Connection got a video. Weevils is something fun that Rex and I are doing, and we were originally going to do 2 videos a month on it, but we've made the decision to scale back and to just do videos on things we are passionate about, things that we are enjoying to read about at the time. And let me just see if I can find it. Should be able to link them by doing this. Nope, they're not in the chat, so they're not fun. Give me a second. So this is the Lesser of Two Weevils. And this is the Ancient Connection. They're in the side chat. Collaborate with Joe Casper. I mean, I might talk to someone about collaboration on a genocide video, just because they're very heavy to make. I will admit, they're very heavy to make, and I get really depressed afterwards. Thank you. I'm glad my face matches my voice. But yeah, so Weevils is something that has become a complete passion project, and it's something that I will be making videos on, and Rex will be making videos on things we love. And it will be longer and longer videos, most likely, instead of the shorter 15 or so minute ones. Now, for my big sort of passion projects right now for the Weevils, on a lighter note, we're talking about slavery. My book collection's fucked when slavery is the lighter topic I'm looking at to feel better about studying genocide all the time. Dead Cat, I will talk to you about Canberra in a minute. Now, the Zorg, I've been reading a couple of books about the Zorg. It's actually the slave ship which had one of the most vile moments of the slave trade possible. Essentially, the crew fucked up and decided to fix that problem by drowning people and then claiming them as insurance for cargo. But the Zorg's political fallout is absolutely phenomenally fascinating, because it's actually the ship that sort of kicked off abolitionism. And for those who don't know, abolitionism in the British Empire during this period sort of became a bit of a religion. People would believe in abolitionism within London society so heavily that it basically would turn into a cult about getting rid of cargo, I've read the comment, people aren't cargo. I'm so mad they cut that from Pirates of the Caribbean. Getting rid of the cargo from the trade and changing it a way to treat people as people. The Zorg is so fascinating because of what it did politically, and because of that, I've been researching it and having a great time researching it. Just seeing how one decision from a group of horrific people can change everything. Have fun, Handyman. And thank you. So yeah, the Zorg is something I'm going to be working on. So in future, you can expect videos when they come on the Lesser of Two Weevils, and they will be pure passion projects. I also will be doing probably some more Age of Sail cooking. I did a video on making hardtack on that channel, and it was fun, even though I nearly chipped a tooth. Like, I want to make burgoo and drown, I can't say that, spotted dick, basically, that you drown in brandy. Like, I've got a whole... Is it here? It is not here. I've got a whole cooking book on it that I want to cover more of. So that's a future plan. Yeah, so that's a future idea. And I think it will be fun. Yeah, ship's grog as well. I made grog in that video too. Uh, the hardtack was better than the Russian MRE, I will say that. But, talking about like what people ate and how they lived, because there are two kinds of history. You got big history, which is like world events, the Holocaust, evolution of nationhood. And then you have little history, which is the individual person, how people lived, what they did, how they existed on the day to day. And with Weevils, I kind of want to go to the more little history than the big history. Because, like Drakenfeld covered Trafalgar incredibly. He covered the Nile incredibly as well. He did all of Nelson amazingly. But I want to talk about little history, like how people lived. What was the life like for a convict? How did a chain gang exist? Like, I want to do smaller history, smaller things, because I think it would be fascinating. I have watched Drek's video on that. And then we get to the Ancient Channel. Now, I have been like neck deep in a book on the city of Carthage and the history of Carthage. And I've come to absolutely adore it as well. Again, reading about ancient Carthage and the slave trade is my brain break for dealing with with Eastern European history and Welsh history as well, I guess. And the reason I wanted to do the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, or Diu, which one's that? The reason I want to do more Carthaginian history is because we've actually recently discovered some more tombs from the era. Because for those who don't know, Rome burnt everything to the ground except for some agricultural books. So early Carthaginian history is actually really hard to piece together, but it is fascinating nonetheless. It is such an interesting thing. Like, the fact we know more about the ancient Egyptians than we do the ancient Carthaginians because Rome burnt everything is quite depressing. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, it's kind of a video on countries that don't exist. But like for the Ancient Connection, I want to talk about things that. Well, see, that's another thing. The Dre podcast, the baby sacrifices may have never happened. That may be Roman propaganda. And this is a whole thing that new evidence has led us to believe that there's been this reputation that Carthage has always been the kind of place that sacrifices and kills kids. That may have never happened. The Toph that they found there may have been evidence of large amounts of infant mortality due to famine or the conditions that led to an altar being made for the burning of the bodies in a religious ceremony of the young children as a way to pray for them. And it's possible that infant sacrifice never happened. We just don't know because the Romans burned everything. Hell, the story about the fall of Carthage involves the wife of the commander of the Carthaginian forces throwing her children from the Bursa, the citadel in the center, and then throwing herself down, which was made up 200 years later by a Roman. But it was accepted as the end of Carthage. It's always been accepted as the history of the end of Carthage. And it's just, yeah, so Carthage is absolutely fascinating and truly one of the most incredible empires in history, and I really want to cover more of it. But yeah, that's the future of the channels and the future of everything post the apocalypse of last year, and what my plans are going forward. And I'll put the questions up for a while. But yeah, I closed the PO box because I moved houses, and also I was starting to get a lot of dildos, and I had too many models as well. So I don't need dildos, and I had too many of them. I only have so many hats I can use as a hat stand. I will say, I can't show it on YouTube, but this is being held up by a dildo. Aussie sent me the history of everything Taliban for a Soviet naval cap, and yeah, and it's being held up by a dildo because it's the funniest way to display it. As for the person who said they're coming to Canberra, National Museum is free. So is the War Memorial. Go check them out. The War Memorial recently just expanded massively. And I also recommend Old Parliament House. It's a museum of democracy. It's fantastic. I did not put the dildos in a charity bin. One of them actually melted. Funnily enough, it was sitting behind my computer hiding it from the kids because obviously I don't want my kids to see them. And when I was rendering the Belarus video, the heat of my PC came back from my 4080 and actually melted the tip. And it's really funny. I do build a lot of the models I've been sent. One of them is actually in the midst of being built. I'll grab it here. This is fun. It's a longboat or a schooner that I got sent. It's currently being I'm currently putting it together. I've been experimenting with wooden models, so I've been planking and putting everything together and bending it. So this is a future bit of a project that I've been working on. I have put my head in Mephisto before. I've been in Mephisto a few times. Schooner, yeah. I'm from Queensland. We call it schooner. It's also a kind of beer. Yeah, it burnt just the tip. What have you been saying, schooner? Why? Why have you been saying schooner? Yeah, no, I grew up in Gympie, of all places. I just moved to Canberra about a decade ago. Huh. Yeah, no, that's because it's because I moved away and I most likely am undiagnosed with something because it didn't exist in Gympie, so that's probably why. English isn't your first language. Well, that's fine then. If English isn't your first language, that's fine. How would I recommend you research for your own history videos? Like I said, there's a book. 1 second. All right. Start with your big authors, your Antony Beevers. Say you want to research the Russian Revolution, grab out your book, and then flip right to the back and look at the index. The index is your best friend. And in the index, you will see everything you need. You'll see references in the pages you need to look for. If I'm researching something I don't know about at all, and I've never researched about, what I will do is I will go through and I will look at originally the narrative for it, the accepted narrative, the one that is popularized, and then I'll try and break it. So, for example, the Hunt for the Bismarck. The accepted narrative is the Bismarck was the biggest battleship in the world. It was super strong. It came out and it sank the hood, and then it was overwhelmed by the Royal Navy. That's the common narrative. You then try and break it. You break it as much as you can, and then you come to your own conclusion, and then you break your own conclusion, and you bring evidence to break it constantly. And if you can break your if you can keep breaking your conclusion enough, then eventually you'll find one that you can't keep breaking, and you'll reach that conclusion, and you will have an arguable truth. Because the thing about history is not written by the victor. History is just written by the person who wrote shit down, and you've got to try and break that as much as you can. Yeah, no, John Horton was wrong, shockingly. No, I moved down here because I like the place. I came here for a holiday after I went to Russia for a bit because it was cool and it was colder than Queensland, and I just really liked the place, so I stayed here. Met my wife and then we got engaged after being together for about a week, and 10 years later I'm still here and we've got kids, so I've actually no. I acted in a play once when I was in high school about the Trojan War. That was about it. The Seahorse. I mean, if it's on the list of 5-minute histories, then yeah, I will. I'll probably do it. Yeah, no, I'm not even kidding. We started dating, and then a week later we got engaged. It absolutely freaked the frick out of my family. I think I was 18 at the time. Albania is still technically Albania. Who did I play? I was fuck, who was I? I was Priam. That was it. I played King Priam. Yeah, that was Priam. It was a long time ago, but I was pre-em, yeah. I had a fake beard and everything. I mean, I liked the woman. She liked me, so it worked. Yeah, no, I remember that play. I remember it because because the girl I had a crush on is really stupid. The girl I had a crush on was Helen, so I tried to be Paris, but I was too tall and bulky to be Paris, so they wouldn't let me, and I was really shitty about it. Um, oh yeah, the Pirate Queen of Albania. I forgot about that. That could be good. Um, you Leaf. I just liked her, so I just asked her. I shaved today, but for those wondering, I am 28. Blackbeard will get a shout out on the Weevils channel eventually. Oh, things are great. This was mostly a year on from when the channel nearly died. Kokoda will actually get a video in future, so will Milne Bay and the Battle of Brisbane, and I do want to do a bit more World War II content in the Pacific. But the thing is, Australian history videos don't do well. They will only get a very small amount of views, and look, I get it. It's Australian history. It's quite niche, but it is something I absolutely adore. The channel gets buried every time I do something on genocide or LGBT rights now, or anything that really upsets the Americans. Hey, the space race got another episode recently. It got the N1 rocket. Shut up. And Scrap Iron 3 will be finished soon. Yeah, Vimy Ridge will come after Kokoda. Most likely, because I'll do Australia, Canada, bit of New Zealand in there too. Well, see, Australian history is so much fun. Like, you've got some bad shit, obviously, but like, we have hilarious shit too. Like, we got a prime minister who went missing because he went for a swim. Yeah, honestly, at this rate, American history. If you want to grow your channel, Holonic, American history is not a winner right now. It's just not. No one wants to watch it. Mostly Americans don't want to watch it unless they are of the certain yeehaw variety, because people want to hear about other things because they feel a bit better about it. Yeah, we did name a swimming pool after the guy who went missing swimming. Yes. So yeah, like, I would avoid American history right now. Like, I want to do a lot of American history. Like, for example, I find a lot of early colonial American history to be quite fascinating, particularly the birth of the U.S. Navy. I want to do stuff on that. And I want to talk about like, because the War of 1812 shits me because it's like, you lost, but whatever. Like, I want to talk about more of the frigate duels and stuff. But again, no one wants to watch American history right now because, well, Americans don't want to watch American history, mostly because quite a lot of them are ashamed of it and ashamed of anything pro-American. And a lot of, and it also attracts a certain kind of American to it. And a lot of them just don't want to interact with it. They want something to break their brain away from it. And it's quite sad because I do want to see some. I've never visited American ships. I've never been to the United States. I want to, but I'm not at the moment. Yeah, Louis, you're one of those. Like, you want to, like, for example, for the 4th of July this year, I'm doing a collab with another YouTuber, and we're going to cover, I announced it yesterday in my Discord, with Spartan761, and we're going to cover every single American dreadnought. Every single one. It's technically a 5-minute history, but it's going to be like 2 hours. But I know it won't do well because I know a lot of Americans don't want to learn about it. And honestly, I get it. I completely get it. But like I said before, I get mistaken a lot for someone who hates the United States. I love what it's supposed to be. and it's quite sad. What else we got here? Yeah, like American stuff in the Med, like the American campaign against Tripoli is really cool. It's really, really cool. Yeah, the War of 1812 was a side quest. It'll probably get done on the Weevils channel because, like, views don't really matter on that channel because it's for fun. It's just me telling stories that I want to like. Who's my favorite singer? We find out what I'm listening to at the moment. Seriously, one of the biggest giveaways that I'm most likely on the spectrum, and I've never been diagnosed, and I'm almost sure of it, is the fact that I listen to the same song over and over and over again until I get sick of it. Most recent 3 things I've listened to are Italian, or Bella Ciao and the Italian national anthem, because of course, why did I listen to that recently? I'm not. I quite like a bit of Sabaton. There you go. Most played song recently is something by Shabuzi. I do like classical Australian pub rock though. It's its own genre. So if you look up classical Australian pub rock, you'll get what I mean. It's a thing. Look up. If I was a tree, I'd be a gum tree. Let me put this in the chat. I'll find the words are hard. Now I'm trying to make this not play. Do not play, do not play, do not play. Pause, pause, pause. Yep, okay, it didn't play. There you go. It's one of my favorite songs. Basically that genre. It'd be a gum tree. You just do it, right? The song's good, so you just want to keep hearing it. You want it in your brain. Bridge over the River Kwai will be if I ever do a video on the Burma-Siam Railway, I will go to Thailand to do it. Got a lot of family in Thailand, so it's an excuse to see them as well. I'll give it another minute though, and then I will end it. So if you have any other questions, then let me know. Half Thai. Wife's half Thai. So my kid's grandmother is Thai, but her dad's very Oka. I find Belarus to be fascinating because it's a country that people claim doesn't exist, and yet it does. And no matter how much people try and deny it, it survives, it endures. It should have died 100 times, but it's still there. And it fascinates me. Oh god, the Bard Court. Hildegard von Blingen is freaking amazing. And thank you again. Livonia is interesting too. South American history is something I want to do as well. And yeah, it's a long one. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dead Cat. There is a lot more racism on the topic than people realize. Also, I really genuinely feel for people who are split between cultures growing up. I just feel for them. I do know the history of Anne Lee, Sarah, and it's not fun for the whole family. I agree with you. Oh, near Moresby. That's awesome. My dad lived up in Moresby when he was a kid. He was born in Queensland, but my grandfather worked up there for a long time, so he grew up in Moresby. Give it another 3 minutes. I'll end 5 to the hour. Thank you, Adam. And yeah, thank you to everyone who has donated today. You absolutely didn't have to do that. Thank you to all of you. Because South America is a great place to run away to, Beige. Yes, there's actually a Russian Navy video on the Kursk and the political fallout of it coming out on Saturday. It will be out in 3 days. Oh, I will cover the Falklands War at one point because it's hilarious. And the South American arms race. Favorite. Oh, I'll upset people on that because I think Margaret Thatcher did it, Holonook. Favorite aircraft of all time? That's difficult. I like the Mosquito. That's a good one. I'm a fiend for a Gloucester Meteor. Mirage, too. I actually have quite a few. I like the Boomerang because it's domestic and it's cool. The Vark is up there as well. Honestly, there's a lot of planes I really like. I love the Sabre. The Sabre is one of my favorites. We did. We actually had a meteor pilot in the Korean War that went 4-on-1 with MiGs, MiG 17s, I think, and he shot 2 down. I've been under an F-111 as it flies over. Dead cat. I've been under one. No, it was a good idea. He did smash windows. Oh, I know a lot about the American interventions in South America. It's fucked. It was just really loud. It was at a river fire in Brisbane when I was a kid. I'm trying to interview someone who's one of the soldiers from the exclusion zone in Chernobyl at the moment, but it's a little complicated, to say the least. K219. K219 is actually on my list of things to cover. And it's been recommended by one of my patrons who's actually on a nuke boat, one of the American ones. He sent me I'll see if I've got it here. It's the coolest thing I've ever been sent. It's not up there. I gotta see if I can find it. Genuinely, it's the most awesome thing I own now. That's a pencil. That's not. Talk amongst yourself for a minute. Nope, not in there. Can you? Where is it? Because I've been. Nope, that's not it. That's the really cool shit I got sent from the US Coast Guard cutter. Is it up here? Thought it was. Nope. I've done a stupid and I've lost something. All right, that should be working now. I knocked my damn mic thing out, but no, I got sent a challenge coin from a reactor welder on an higher class That's interesting. My cord keeps falling out. I might need a new cord for my mic. But yeah, I got sent an SSBN, a Ohio nuke boat emergency reactor welder challenge coin, and it's like the coolest thing I've ever been sent. It really is. It's fine now. It should be fine. I just don't know where it is. I'm pretty sure it's in the drawer here, and I keep knocking my thing out every time I look for it. I'm just gonna check this second drawer. No, it's not there. It's packed away. I might just tape it in, to be honest. But yeah, on that bombshell, I went for a lot longer than I thought I would. So I'm going to end it. Again, thank you to everyone who donated, and thank you all for the continued support over the few years. Yeah, no, just genuinely, it's amazing. Yeah, no, it's awesome, right, Wesley? And thank you again. So everyone have fun. I'm going to go and probably play Hoi 4 because I haven't taken a day off in like a week, and I need